Ever wondered about our old new metal friends and what became of them?
Are you ready? Welcome to the Zeitgeist Lab Collections podcast, season 4, episode 6, I want to say.
Yeah, 6.
All right. I'm remembering these
That's
things.
so 6.
Yeah. We're here to talk about new metal once again. Alex, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. It's 9:30 a.m. here. I don't think we've ever recorded this early. This is fucking insane to be this awake and ready to pod.
Yeah, I didn't even have to send you my my 9 o'clock text.
Well, I would hope at 9 a.m. that you're awake. I mean,
yeah.
Ready to pod is a different story. I know you've got to throw away your Taco Bell wrappers and get dressed and all that, but I assume you're awake.
Nah, I didn't have Taco Bell today yet.
Does Taco Bell do breakfast?
Yeah, they do.
Oh, really?
I was gonna say, yeah. Have you had their breakfast burritos?
No, I'm not a big breakfast person to start off with, and if I do fast food, the only one I can think of I do is McDonald's. But
yeah, I would never eat fast food breakfast. That just sounds disgusting to me. That concept is always disgusted the shit out of me.
Are you a breakfast person though?
Not really.
Yeah, me either.
I like some breakfast foods. Like I like cereal. I like toast. I like eggs. I like hash browns. I'd rather just go to a diner though.
Yeah, like if I go to a diner, I will get a full meal, like pancakes, eggs, the whole thing. But when I'm at home, I try to wake up with as little time to spare as possible. I'd rather be sleeping than making fucking eggs at 6 a.m. on a Tuesday or something.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know how people do that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we're recording early because Alex has the day off.
That's right.
He got fired. No, I'm kidding.
I got fired, yep. That's the theme for this season, getting fired.
But yeah, we were talking off mic. You got a nice little raise, so you're staying at your job.
I am, yeah. Which is, fuck it, I don't have a good joke. Yes, I'm staying at my job.
Which is a male stripper.
Yeah, ha ha ha. Instead of dancing, though, I just come out and have diarrhea.
Oh, okay. Yeah, great. What if I took a hit from my pen every time you mentioned diarrhea? I think I'd be on another planet.
I don't know. Let's find out. I was thinking that maybe I should get into stand-up comedy, and my whole routine would just be my mommy type tweets, you know?
Oh God!
Just stand up on a stage "Mommy, I have diarrhea."
I would heckle the shit out of you.
You would what?
I would heckle the shit out of you.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it's not safe to be a comedian these days. Will Smith's gonna slap you. So.
Yeah, I was hoping we wouldn't talk about that. Just because everyone else is talking about it. I was sick of hearing about that, as soon as it happened. I was like, okay, this is going to be something everyone talks about for a week. And shame on everyone that tweeted about it. You're basic and boring now.
Basic and boring.
Yeah. So, yeah, I had people in my group chat, this one guy in my group chat that I don't like. He was saying it was fake because he leaned in.
Oh.
Kind of braced for it, but I don't know. He could have been leaning in to be he thought he was going to whisper something to him.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't know. Who cares?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's assault is the thing, and that's all that matters. And we don't need all of the conversation around it. And yeah, in the grand scheme of things, who gives a fuck?
Yeah, people are going to forget about it by the time this episode airs anyway.
But what I am excited about is I was editing our Kitty episode last night, and I believe I mentioned Will Smith, even though it was before the Oscars. I mentioned Will Smith and Men in Black. So I'm excited to post that one, and in the tweet I can mention that we talk about Will Smith, so maybe that'll get us some listeners.
Hell yeah. Whatever gets those numbers up.
Mommy, Alex was talking about Will Smith on the Zeitgeist pod again.
Oh my God. My vape is I'm jumping from vape to vape because I used all of my juice here. I don't know, or whatever this stuff is called that's inside of it.
Well, why don't you just throw it away then?
Well, there's still some gas left in the tank in all of these, but Yeah, it's like it's like when you don't smoke all of a blunt and you kind of leave it there for a while, and then you smoke all the butts
Mm-hmm.
when you run out of weed. That's
Right.
kind of where I'm at now. I'm smoking the butts of the.
So you have no full cartridges left?
No full vapes left now, but I'm drinking Red Bull, so we're getting fucked up somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found this peach Red Bull at Woodman's yesterday.
Sounds disgusting.
I knew you'd say that, but I think it's delightful. Have you had the pineapple kind?
No, I
That's
mean,
really good,
I think
too.
that like the different flavored monsters are really good. I mean, I'm not a fan of all of them, but I think it's a fine concept. But Red Bull is just Red Bull. What the fuck are they doing with these fruity Red Bull flavors? Like, fuck that.
Nah, they're good. The watermelon kind is good too, but the peach is my favorite. Peach nectarine. I'm excited.
Well, let's fucking go then. Peach, nectarine, Red Bull, motherfucker.
Yeah, should we like hop into the grundle and hear some questions?
Yeah. Let's fucking do this thing.
So we have some questions from Mr. Gabe Sluice.
Sluice is loose in my butt.
Jordan Lane, Mark Berry, and Danny Leary. And oh no, that's not a question. Okay. And then you asked something for some reason. I don't know why. So we're gonna skip that.
Mm-hmm. More proof that my questions are always barred.
Because you're part of the podcast, you can't ask questions if you're gonna answer them too.
Okay.
All right. For some reason, Gabe Sluice wants to know if we've ever been to Key West, Florida, the most southern point in the United States. I can't say I have. The furthest south I've been is North Carolina.
I mean, I've been to Fort Lauderdale, but not to Key West, no.
Yeah, that's the furthest south I've been was either Asheville or Charlotte, North Carolina, whichever one's furthest south. I don't know.
Wow.
The geography of that city. Yeah, I haven't traveled a whole lot. I haven't really moved outside of the Midwestern bubble that much.
Yeah. What took you to Asheville, North Carolina?
My cousin, rest in peace, he got married.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then, and then tragedy happened shortly after that, but I'm not going to get into that. Maybe I've mentioned it on the podcast before anyway. I don't know.
That one does not sound familiar to me, but usually when you're talking about cousins, you're either talking about how they give you COVID or perform in awful cover bands. So those are the only two cousins.
Or steal money from me. Or steal money from me.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's Gabe Sluice's first question. We'll get to his second question on our next episode. All right. So we got a good one from Jordan Lane here. It says the Monster Truck Federation approaches you saying they want to sponsor the pod. You each get to design your own monster truck. Tell me about them. That's probably like the best question we've got. I haven't really gotten the chance to think about this one though. So I'm gonna defer to you.
Well, let's see. Design a monster truck. I don't really know a lot about monster trucks. I don't know if there's like rules or parameters in which you have to work in, but if I had to design, so it would be on the front, like on the hood, I guess, would be our big logo, like the flaming Z and the little beakers and stuff. And then down one side, it would say Fen Toozler and have like a big picture of your face. And then on the other side, it'd be like down the other side, be a picture of me. It would say Alex, and then and it would be purple. It'd be like a purple truck with like white lettering. And then on the back, there'd be like what am I trying to think of? Like, it's not stickers. I guess it's stickers. Anywhere on the back windshield or whatever, it would say "Fuck off, Doom," and then. And then right above the exhaust, there'd be words that say, diarrhea exits here.
Yeah, I was waiting for that.
So, I mean, I saw the question yesterday, but I had not thought about it all until you deferred to me just now. So just right off the top of my head, that's kind of the design I think of.
All right. Mine would not be related to the pod whatsoever.
Why? We get to design one because they're sponsoring the pod.
Yeah, hold on. I'm going to take it to a different direction.
Well, you're going to lose us our goddamn sponsorship.
This sponsorship doesn't exist anyway. Mine would have a lot of flames and skulls and like all over the side and the hood.
Mm-hmm.
Have like, big spikes sticking out of the wheels.
Okay.
So I can, so I can fuck with my opponents. I don't know how monster trucks work. I assume.
So now you're assuming that you're driving the truck on top of designing it?
Yeah, it would look like something out of Mad Max Fury Road, which was a movie I've never seen, but like, I know, very apocalyptic and like badass, and like has a lot of like fucked up vehicles and stuff. I think I've never seen that movie. Yeah, it'd look like something like that. I think.
Okay.
It'd just be looking really gnarly.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's my answer. You kind of took a very streamlined, straightforward approach.
I really wanted to just do like all diarrhea based, but I knew that you would be upset about that, so I tried to do something different.
Is mainly this is from Mark Berry, mainly for Brian. Thoughts on the new Soul Glow record? Some of the first hardcore that I've really enjoyed. And then Toes followed up saying, "Gotta hear this one too if he's heard it." And yeah, I've listened to it quite a few times. I was already a big fan of that band. I know this is going to be an album that introduces them to a wider audience because they're on a bigger label now. And I don't know if I like it as much as the last one though. I still have to sit with it more because I really liked the last one, which has a word in the title that I can't say. But yeah, I think you should listen to that album, Alex. I think you might get something out of it.
That seems unlikely.
Soul Glow, Dysphoria, Euphoria problems.
Sounds like you obviously know all the names of the albums.
Something like that.
Something like that.
Euphoria problems. I don't know. But yeah, it's a good album. They're really pushing their sound forward again. Yeah, so it's kind of all over the place. It's going to be this year's Turnstile, I think, where everyone and their mother is going to be claiming they like that album.
My mom wouldn't listen to this, I don't think, if I had to guess.
Yeah, my mom wouldn't either. She's more of a Chris Stapleton fan.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, it's all right. You're not missing out on much. All right, I think that is enough questions from McDrundle for this episode. We didn't say what album we're talking about yet.
Does that matter?
No, because it's in the title. But
yep, exactly.
Yeah, unless you're a member of the blind community, we're here to talk about. No, if you're a member of the blind community, not unless you're a member of the blind community. I can't talk today. If you're a member of the blind community, we are here to talk about Linkin Park's album, their debut studio album, Hybrid Theory. So I feel like this is going to be a pretty easy episode for both of us.
Okay. Because
this is an elder millennial classic, which I don't want to use that term because I think it's gross. But
which term?
Elder millennial.
Why?
I don't know. It just grosses me out.
Are you even an elder millennial? You're like practically a little baby. I'm surprised you're not like. I'm surprised you're not like Generation Z or whatever.
No, I'm 32. I'm an elder millennial.
Let's see.
I'm 3 years younger than you.
Okay, I thought you were Gen Z. That's weird.
No, you didn't. But yeah, this album came out when I was in fifth grade. All I remember is that I drew for extra credit art class. I drew the album cover,
Nice.
which was like a really big deal to me because, like, personally, because I was not known for drawing,
Uh-huh.
but I somehow pulled it off.
Do you still have it? Did it look good?
It did look good. I don't have it now.
Oh, dang.
But yeah, yeah, I got this album when it came out. This was like one of the first like new bands I got into, I guess, like where it was like, whoa, what is this?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, yeah, I feel like most people our age have a lot of like nostalgic feelings about this album. Like this is like a beloved album of our generation. I don't know if it has the same effect on you. What did you think about this album? Have you heard this album before?
So yeah, I've definitely heard this album before, and this album is fucking awesome. Like, I loved it back then. I love it now. It's not one that I revisit a lot, but yeah, it's definitely a classic album. If this is what all new metal sounded like, I'd think that all new metal was fucking sick. But yeah, this is just a tremendous album, a great album, and I don't like. There's probably not enough good things I could say about it.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So like basically everything I said, you basically like feel the same way.
Yeah.
Like this is like, yeah. So you're kind of proving my point, which I really enjoy.
I've never been out of like any group of friends that I've been a part of, I would probably be the most likely to listen to new metal, which is very unlikely still. So I didn't know a lot of other people who listened to this album. I knew some, of course, because it was popular, but I did not know that this would be considered like a classic of our generation, or like a touch point of a particular era of the early 2000s.
Everyone in my school like loved this album. Yeah, and I remember like everyone like highly anticipating Meteora when that came out too at my school.
Uh-huh.
That was a big deal. It seemed like like everyone I knew loved this album. But yeah, listening back to it now, like it's just hit after hit after hit.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
I haven't listened to this. I mean, definitely in the last 10 years. I think maybe even in the last 5. But like I found myself singing along to like all the words to like every song. Like,
and there were like I've not listened to this thing in full since probably 2003, 2004. But there were a lot of songs that I was like, oh, I thought this one was on Meteora for some reason, because those were the only 2 Linkin Park albums I ever owned or got into, and I guess they just kind of started to blur because there were a couple I was like, oh, specifically I think I thought Crawling was on Meteora. Like if you'd asked me last week, like which album was Crawling on, I was like, oh, that's Meteora, right? But yeah, so it was interesting to revisit and kind of remember the album as like a whole piece of work, because again, there's so many great parts, but I was confused at least to where in their discography some of these songs existed.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like for me, like this album exists as its own thing. Like I like by the time Meteora came out in like 2003, I want to say. I was already getting into like pop punk and like indie rock and stuff, and like I kind of outgrew like that style of music, or was starting to for the first time.
Okay.
So, like, Hybrid Theory, so Linkin Park for me was a band that was just kind of one and done.
Okay.
But yeah, listening to it now, though, like, this, like, what surprised me the most is that this really, really holds up.
Yeah.
Like, those hooks are so slick and, like, infectious, and, like the way they transition between, like, the rapping and the singing.
Yeah.
It's just so seamless, and, like, they have so much chemistry.
Absolutely.
And like the way they incorporate like turntables and like samples and stuff is way more innovative than, like, no disrespect to DJ Lethal, but like Limp Bizkit or like Incubus or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can tell like the dude that does the turntables was like a music nerd, like the way he like kind of the way he like manipulates their voices and stuff,
Oh, okay.
like all the stuttering, you know
Uh-huh.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, like you could tell like Aphex Twin was like kind of like a big influence
Okay, I've never
on
listened to
that.
Aphex Twin.
It's really cool. I don't know if you'd like it, but it's Aphex Twin rules. Yeah, and like Chester Bennington, rest in peace, is like just a really, really good like singer, like and like just vocalist. Like his range is incredible. Like they were definitely like way more talented, like at their own individual crafts, as like than a lot of like bands of their style and their scene.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I got out of it. I wasn't getting that out of it like when I was listening to it in middle school or whatever, but that's what I'm getting.
Right, yeah.
So yeah, I was really happy to revisit this.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, like so like what was your experience listening to it like now as opposed to like when you were in I guess college or whatever?
See, you piece of shit. You claim you're only a few years younger than me, and then you claim I was in college. What was this, 2000? 2000? Come on now.
Yeah, it came out in 2000.
I remember the first time I came across this album, I was at a friend's birthday party. It must have been 2000, and he was listening to this album, like they were playing it, and I was like, "Well, that's kind of like it's kind of an interesting sound." Because I was not into anything like this. I mean, fall of 2000, I would have been really into like Blink-182 and still listening also to like probably what year did NSYNC's album come out?
That was 2000, I think.
What?
Yeah, I think that they were 2000.
I'm trying to think what No Strings Attached. I think that might have been 2000.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Or maybe 99. So yeah, like at this time, that's more like what I would be into. I was kind of still, it was in March of 2000. So I was still kind of straddling the line between boy bands and pop punk. And I heard this. Yeah. And I heard this and I was like, oh, that's a really, like, it's an interesting sound. I mean, this isn't what I would have thought at the age of 13, but like if I had to say it now, I'd be like, this is like a much more progressive sound while still being, palatable or inviting. Like it's much more, what am I trying to say, like it's an easier listen than say something like Korn or Limp Bizkit
for sure.
or something. So it's much more mainstream, much more accessible. And I was like, okay, cool. So I went down to the Shopko or whatever and got this album, and I remember just like playing it in my basement, like jumping around and like thinking, yeah, this is like fucking sick, this is awesome, and like learning all the words and singing it. And like mainly listening to it now, I'm just kind of taken back there. I can appreciate it much more from a sonic standpoint and a musical standpoint now. If I had to guess, at the time, there were probably a few songs where I was like, oh, this is a little too hard for me, or like, this is just not my thing. But, 22 years later, and I think it's an enjoyable listen.
Yeah, like it's funny that you mentioned like you were saying like this is like much more accessible and stuff, because like one of the points I was forgetting to make was that like when I was younger and like fifth grade when this came out, like I would always skip like the screaming parts at the end of like the part at the end of what's the one where he goes like, shut up, I'm talking to you.
One Step Closer?
Yeah, okay, yeah, I wanted to say One Step Closer, yeah. Like when he starts to scream that, like I would have skipped it because like that was too aggressive for me.
Oh, okay.
Like I wasn't quite there with like harsh vocals and music quite yet.
I see.
And that was like because that was my first. I think that was my first kind of exposure to it.
Yeah.
Which like then go figure, I'd go on to get into like black metal and death metal and stuff, where like the vocals are screeched and growled and like just unlistenable to the average casual listener.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, for the most part, yeah, that compared to other bands like Korn and Limp Bizkit, it's not as nearly as heavy.
Yeah.
It is definitely more accessible in that realm.
And they really leaned into that, and I was okay with Meteora. it was bloated. It was too long. But I thought there were some really good songs in there. But everything after that, from what I could hear, is just dog shit. And it just became way too poppy.
For sure. Yeah, yeah. All right. So we both brought videos to watch.
Yep.
So do you want to go with yours first or mine first?
You tell me. Tell me, Daddy.
All right. Let's go with yours first because I'm excited to see what you brought to the table because you have been doing a lot of research.
I don't know shit about any of these bands. It's the first band we've talked about that I know anything about. Okay, do you want?
So you want to research them more, and the other bands you don't want to research at all, even though you don't know anything about them.
Right, because I have no interest in the other bands. This is your season. I would never have been like, we should talk about nu metal because the nu metal bands I like. You've introduced me to a couple that are good. Static X, I like Kitty, but if I don't know them ahead of time, I have no interest to research them. You know.
Okay, that makes sense.
What you should have done is you should have waited till I did all the research on Kitty for the CanCon season before canceling it. Then I would have come locked and loaded.
Well, that turned out to be a good episode anyway.
Yeah. Okay, I've got, I think 3 covers and 1 live video. What do you want to start with?
All right, let's start with the live video.
Okay. So this is Linkin Park and Jay-Z performing Points of Authority, 99 Problems, and One Step Closer. The video is from August of 2008.
That's so crazy that Jay-Z did this. Like, looking back on it now.
What?
It's so crazy that Jay-Z did this.
Right.
Looking back on it now.
Oh, for sure.
Like, he's a fucking billionaire. He does, what the fuck did he have to do with some white boy rock band?
So good.
This is one of the best songs ever, man.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I kind of just want to listen to the whole fucking thing. This is so good.
Yeah, I never really got it. This collaboration wasn't a big, it should have. I don't know why it missed me. I think I was into different music at that time. Now I listen to the Black album.
It's so good.
That was a big deal when it came out for me.
Yeah.
Jay-Z's Black album.
Yeah, Black album's good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Middle school classic.
Yeah, it was like a post-grad classic for me, right? So
right.
Okay, so next I've got In the End, a string cover by Robin Adele Anderson.
Okay.
One thing, I don't know why, and it doesn't even matter how hard you try. Keep that in mind, I designed this rhyme to explain in due time. All I know, time is a valuable thing. Watch it fly by as a pendulum swings. Watch it count down to the end of the day. The clock takes life away. So unreal, didn't look out below. Watch your time go right out the window. Trying to hold on, but you didn't even know. Wasted it all just to watch it go. I kept everything inside. It fell apart even though I tried. What it meant to me will eventually be a memory. The time I tried so hard and got so far.
I didn't watch any of these ahead of time, so that was not too impressive.
No, that was... How many views does that have?
1,442,686.
Right. Yeah, that's a very YouTube-y thing. Just very, very cringe. Just very, like... I forget things like this exist.
Well,
I have an emergency tweet from Gabe Sluice that we just got.
An emergency tweet?
I just have to. I have to read this because just because this is very vindicating for me.
Okay.
Okay,
I'm
so
looking
Gabe
at it
Sleuth-
right now. You're going to be vindicated, aren't you?
You know what? Okay, so Gabe Sleuth says, you know what? I'm fucking on board with eating food in the nude. The tubes has opened my eyes.
Yes. Thank you for making sure to read the typo.
Yeah. It was hard to get out, but yeah. I feel vindicated now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just had to share that on air.
So Gabe Sleuth, tell us what you're eating in the nude. We want to know.
Yeah, I want to know. Yeah.
Send pictures.
Well, I mean,
okay.
Right, I'm gonna ask him what he's eating.
Did you take a look at the tweet that he was responding to though?
It was it was to the episode.
Yeah. Another classic mommy tweet introducing another classic episode of the Zeitgeist.
Right.
All right. So next I have a medley, I guess, of "Numb" and "In the End" by the Buzztones, a Linkin Park cover, acapella cover. Sorry, here we go.
There's so much more aware. I'm becoming this. All I want to do is be more like me and be less like you.
Can't you see that you're smiling?
Ooh, listen to that voice.
Holding too tightly, afraid to lose control.
That's good.
Everything that you thought.
Yeah, this is somehow less. I mean, it's still very YouTube-y.
Look at this guy. Is this guy like 60 years old? He's just like fucking rocking out to. Well, they're not rocking, but like doing acapella Linkin Park.
Yeah. Oh, the guy on the left.
Yeah. His tie's too short.
Looks like a fucking math teacher.
Yeah. Yes. He looks exactly like a math teacher.
It took me a while to get how to stop that.
Yeah. Where's the in the end part? We're here to talk about hybrid theory.
Yeah, this is less embarrassing than the last one, but it's still very YouTube-y.
Yeah. I'm trying to find in the end.
What the hell are you waiting for? What the hell are you waiting for?
Here we go.
Tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. I had to fall to lose it all.
Oh, got some counterpoint going.
It doesn't even matter.
That's good.
Yeah. I was going to say, are we going to watch the whole fucking thing? But we were just waiting for it in the end, yeah.
Yes, that's why I kept trying to fast forward. Okay, last thing I've got is Crawling, Linkin Park cover, obviously. Musical theater string cover. Oh, and this is by that same group that was cringy at the beginning, so.
Oh, great.
Robin Adele Anderson. Looks like a COVID pandemic lockdown video because everyone's in their house.
Ooh. They still need, I mean, they were in quarantine, but they still found the need to pump out
to
the
the middle.
content.
Yeah.
Thanks, Robin Adele, whatever, Anderson.
This one only has 69,000 views though.
Nice.
What's nice about it?
69,000. 69.
Well, I don't get it. I thought the number was 68.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, that was dog shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good content, Alex.
Thank you. Thank you. So the first thing I have, or that you have rather, is all you've said here is Live 2000. Okay, so this.
Yeah, I think this is the Whiskey or somewhere in Los Angeles. This is I tried finding the earliest performance I could find from them.
So this is One Step Closer live at the Roxy in Los Angeles in 2000.
That's water. We're Linkin Park. We have to go.
Let's skip to the middle here. Come on. This is their best song, right?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Oh, this is when Mike Snow had the dyed red hair.
Yeah.
This is like peak Linkin Park. Like peak old days.
So this is September 9th. This is September 9th, 2000. So this was a month and a half before this album even came out.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I definitely wanted to find like really early performances. How it's that.
So good. Cool.
Yeah. And then next, I think we have. Yeah, I can't remember.
Okay, let me pull it up here. So next I've got Live on Conan. So why is it that every new metal video collection you send me is the band playing on Conan? Is this just like, is this a new metal rite of passage, or?
I don't know. I always want to find like live on like late night talk shows. I find
okay.
I find those kind of like performances from like new metal bands fascinating because it's like very fish out of water.
Okay. So this is January 2001 on Late Night with Conan O'Brien, One Step Closer. So this is 4 months later.
I like how the guitar player always has big headphones on too.
Right?
That's a good look.
Absolutely.
And like still got the red hair.
I cannot take this anymore.
That's a big setup to fit on like a tiny little soundstage in Rockefeller Center.
Oh yeah.
Just like before. Everything you say to me. Taking one step closer to the edge.
Yeah, Mike's got the slick back pink hair. It's looking good. Huge pants.
Oh yeah, yeah. They're styling back then.
That was good. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, next you've got Live in Grand Central Station.
Wow, this is really cool, actually.
Okay.
This is them at a train station in New York City.
Come on, Internet. Okay, this is posted in 2017. Oh, yeah, this is May 16th, 2017. They're in Grand Central Station in the greatest city in the world, and they're performing In the End.
Okay. So everything the way we're doing it right now is like, at least for me, and I think Joe, our thing is way different. I never play the piano part. Will you guys rap for us?
So this is like not long before Chester passed.
Yeah.
The he passed in 2017.
Yeah, later this year. I feel like it was like August or September.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember where I was when I heard of his passing. This is so sick.
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah. I'm gonna cry.
It's like such an iconic song, such a fucking great song.
Yeah,
it's
I think
insane.
It feels like a posing move to say it's the best song on the album, but it might be.
Well, and it's like we'll talk about like another band we're gonna talk about later today has had a hit or two that are like just they kind of went everywhere. Like the song just permeated pop culture. But the song itself, They Got Big, is not inherently new metal. But this is, you can't argue that this is not a new metal song, but it became fucking huge everywhere.
Yeah.
I remember sitting at home, just like watching the TV, like MTV or The Box, which I mentioned a few episodes ago, just waiting for this music video to come on, like the huge walking statues, and like Chester's up on top, he's like screaming, it starts raining, and it's just so fucking good.
It's so good, yeah.
You know, in the last 5 years now, I guess, 4.5 years, I don't want to ever say, like, oh, I didn't really care about Chester passing or whatever, because I'm not, like, a heartless asshole for the most part. But, like, because 2017 was so far removed from when I was in Linkin Park, I'd forgotten, like, the impact he had just on the sound of music and like what a presence he was. So I don't think it happened too far away from when I was into what he was doing. God, this part is so good.
Yeah. Yeah, there hasn't been anything like this ever since. Like, music sucks now. Like, I hate to be that guy, but music does talk
Right. All right. I don't know why we didn't save that for the end, because now we're going to try to move on to a couple other videos, apparently.
Yeah, I didn't watch the whole thing, so I didn't know it was going to be like as impactful as it was. So what's next?
Next, we have a Godsmack cover.
Godsmack cover. I just forgot about that. Yeah, I found a Godsmack. I wanted to find a full band cover of Linkin Park songs because there's a lot of guitar covers, a lot of vocal covers, but I want to find a full band cover, and this just happened to be one of them.
Okay, so this is Godsmack playing in memory of Chester Bennington, their version of Crawling.
This last couple years has been.
Were you ever into Godsmack?
No,
I was really into Godsmack. I had Godsmack too when I was like in middle school.
Oh, okay. Why does the one guy look like Will Ferrell?
Hey, which one looks like Will Ferrell?
This one I'm on the far right.
I can't really tell on my phone.
There's something inside me that pulls beneath the surface.
Wait, what the fuck is Godsmack? I thought they were like... I mean, I get it's an acoustic version, but this seems much lighter than what I would expect from a band called Godsmack.
Yeah, they're like Harley Davidson metal.
Okay.
Which is a genre I just made up now. I just thought.
Nice.
But that's just, yeah. They're playing at where the Bucks play in Milwaukee as a part of something called Hogfest.
Hogfest. Nice.
So I feel like that kind of sums up the sound of Godsmack.
Okay, the last thing you have sent is a cover. I mean, maybe the band is called Bad Neighbors?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd never heard of them, but this is another full band cover.
Okay, and this is One Step Closer from December of 2020.
Oh, wow, they recorded this during the pandemic, but they weren't in separate rooms, so they're not wearing it. Oh, that's not what I expected that to sound like. Alex is headbanging, playing air drums again.
I mean, it's fine. It's like I said, it's not vocally what I was expecting either, but it was
not
good.
what I expected. Yeah, the vocals I didn't care for.
Yeah.
But overall, that was a faithful cover, I feel.
Yeah. I just want to say that there's I think in the first or second song there's a lyric where he says it's like a whirlwind inside of my head. And I just want to say that when I was a kid, I would always change it to it's like a whirlwind inside of my pants.
I
had to make sure to say that.
I have an update from Gabe Sluice.
Okay.
Sluice
is loose.
He says he's eating birdseed and salami.
What the fuck? Oh, God.
That rules. Shout out to Gabe Sluice. All right, so we got one episode in the bag. Now we got to record another one in a half hour.
That's right.
All right. Well, yeah, I guess it's up to me to end these. I don't know how to end these anymore.
Brian,
no, don't do it. Don't do
well,
it.
then you better find a fucking good way to end this episode. That's my threat.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Zeitgeist Lab podcast. I had a lot of fun on this one.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
There was the only love I've known. But you rescued me from reaching for the bottom and brought me back, being too far gone.
All right. Welcome to the Zeitgeist Labs podcast. First time guest. We got Riley from the band Flashback. How you doing?
Good. How are y'all?
Doing pretty
Doing
good.
good.
Thanks for joining us.
Of course.
Glad you
Yeah.
made it. So yeah, this is we're still in our new metal season. So on this episode, we talked about Hybrid 3 by Linkin Park, and we figured why not bring on a new metal expert, a new metal musician himself.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So my first question is, are you guys? So are you like? Did you come from the hardcore scene in like the Toronto area, or?
So we're from Saskatchewan, which is like pretty.
Oh, okay. I thought Toronto for some reason.
Yeah, we're like very far from Toronto. I actually just went to Toronto for the first time like 2 weeks ago because we played there.
Oh, nice.
Fucking yeah, that place is sick. But about half of our band is like kind of rooted in hardcore. I grew up in like extreme metal. I was like a total like death metal kid growing up.
Nice. Okay.
And my introduction to like actual hardcore didn't really go down until like 2 or 3 years ago. Like I thought that hardcore was like full of hell, you know?
Oh,
and then
yeah.
I like met like the other people in Flashback and they showed me like actual hardcore, I guess.
Right. Because I know you guys play hardcore bands a lot. Or, like,
yeah, like all of our tours are pretty hardcore right now. Like everything we've done so far. And when we play at home, we play with like some other kinds of bands. But when we go out, it's usually hardcore bands, just because that's like what we know, you know?
Yeah. So, like, given your backgrounds then, and this is what I was kind of getting towards, is what inspired you guys to start a new metal band?
So like the first Flashback record was a lot more like straight up hardcore, but like
yeah, that surprised me when I first listened to it today.
Yeah, it's like it was really influenced by like Higher Power and like like Prong and like Leeway, like that like kind of rock shit, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And like Nathan on vocals, like especially on that record, was doing a lot of like the like kind of whiny like Fred Durst stuff, but like over hardcore riffs. You know,
Nice.
like really hitting it with like the a lot. And so that was kind of like the first like step into like new metal shit. And like we had like some like pretty like industrial samples on that record, but like not a lot of stuff, you know? And then we got like we added Emma, who's our DJ. And like she plays like keys and stuff and like DJ scratching and shit. And like once we unlocked that, we're like, hey, we're going like all in on new metal at this point. Like we had kind of like said that we were like new hardcore before, but yeah, once we got like the ability to actually do some of that shit, that was like full new metal time.
Why not? Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. So do you think new metal like is kind of undergoing somewhat of like a cultural kind of like reevaluation right now, kind of like emo did like about 5 years ago, or like because I feel like it's kind of cooler now to like new metal than it was before.
Oh yeah, like think about like Limp Bizkit playing Lollapalooza this year, doing like really well and being like well received by like every other band on that fest doesn't sound like Limp Bizkit, you know? And they just came out and had like a good set. I think it's definitely like one of those things where people are like kind of like almost like coming out and being like, no, I actually do kind of like some of this new metal shit. Like
exactly, yeah.
Like I came from like death metal, and like when I was growing up, like I would like stop myself from listening to new metal because I was like no one can know that I'm you know what I mean? Like, but I'd be watching like the Coal Chamber local video at like 3 a.m. like while I'm in bed, you know, like, no one knows. But like the amount of people who have like literally said to us after like seeing us play or like listening to the record, who have been like, yeah, like you guys have got me turned around on this new metal stuff. Like I'm all in now. Like it's crazy. We get that compliment all the time. I think it's totally like it's having like a like you said, like a cultural, or how did you word that? A cultural
like reevaluation rather. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's so sick. Like I feel like because like the age demographic that like was kind of like born around like the time that nu metal was a thing originally. Like the people who grew up with that are like old enough to be like starting bands now, you know? And like that's just like the shit that was cool to me when I was like 10, you know?
Right. Yeah.
And it's just kind of like like some of like that nu metal fashion and stuff is like it's like in pop culture now, you know what I mean? Like you can argue that like Billie Eilish is wearing like some pretty nu metal shit.
For sure, yeah.
And like or like even just like so many like random like indie artists that I'm into are suddenly repping like big ass jeans and like weird like motorcycle t-shirts, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of that influence is coming from like the hardcore scene too. It's like it's like the music like a lot of people grew up with, and now it's kind of like starting to influence like bands like Vane and stuff like that too.
Yeah, I mean, at least from my perception, I feel like Vane kicked that off like pretty hard. Like, because Arizona was like 3 or 4 years before I noticed like other bands kind of really taking on that influence. But that's just my own perception. Like, shit, I could have missed out on some bands that.
Yeah, like I think Code Orange was doing it too.
Yeah,
and then they've kind of gone into like a completely weird direction.
Yeah,
they're playing Coachella and stuff.
I love like the newest shit that Code Orange is doing. Like they're just leaning so hard into the WWE vibe, and I'm like,
yeah, for sure, yeah.
That newest single they put out with like the guitar solos and shit, I can't get enough of it. It's too good.
Yeah, it's really interesting because it seemed like people were like, started to like appreciate it on like an ironic level, like just nu metal as a whole, and then now they're like you said, they're starting to like come around on it, like this is actually legitimately cool. It's kind of like I have a friend that dressed up as a juggalo for like Halloween, like ironically, and now he's a full-on juggalo. It's just exactly like that. And I've mentioned him on the pod before, but that's juggalo for it.
I definitely feel that. I feel like there is quite a large level of irony because like you got like I feel like there's like some self-awareness that's got to be involved with nu metal, like how funny it can be, you know, like
for sure, yeah,
because it was just such a lawless time in like pop culture, you know, like just anything went. Like
I got that, like
throwing paint at the canvas with nu metal shit. And like
like did you see the Woodstock documentary that came out recently?
No, did that come out?
Yeah, I think it's on HBO or something like that.
Oh shit, I gotta watch that. I was getting excited for that. I saw the trailer.
Yeah, it's okay, and I think we're gonna do a bonus episode about it this season. But it definitely paints a very vivid picture of it being, like you said, a very lawless time in like just American culture in general. But that's a very good example of that.
So I don't have any like I'm not a nu metal historian, or I'm not even really like I come to this season as like a novice, like trying to be convinced that nu metal is something that's good. And I think it's winning me over. We've listened to a lot of good stuff, but we've kind of talked about this reevaluation, and now it's kind of coming back into favor. But at what point did nu metal like fall off, for lack of a better term? Was there like a tipping point that kind of pushed it out of relevancy before this, reevaluation, as we're calling it?
I feel like so many people try to make the case that like Woodstock '99 was like the like final nail in the coffin or whatever, or like the point. But like Hybrid Theory came out after that, so like, and that's like one of the fucking biggest albums ever, and it's so nu metal. So like I feel like the die-off didn't happen until like 2007 maybe, or like 2008.
Yeah, I think what pushed it out of like style is kind of like the emergence of like newer pop punk and like quote unquote like that wave of emo of like My Chemical Romance and shit.
Yeah, fully. I think that's like, because I mean, like, when did MCR come out? Like
mid 2000s, yeah.
Yeah, I think 2006 maybe.
Yeah,
I
see that as like especially if you're talking about like popular heavy music, like I feel like that shit took over around that time, But then even like in popular music, because I mean like nu metal bands like had such a grip on like just like rock radio, I guess, at that time.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
I feel like, I don't know, whenever like ironic big glasses and mustache, like hipster shit started going down, like that's probably like what killed me.
Yeah. I think that's more true than like the emo kind of like pushing it out. Yeah. So getting back to flashbacks. So I think like we talked on this episode about Hybrid Theory, and that's like that's the band that I hear the most in flashback. Do you think that's accurate?
Yeah, that's like primary influence, I'd say.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I feel like, what other bands are you guys inspired by?
Like the main shit for us is like Hybrid Theory, or like I mean like the first two Linkin Park albums, and then like Deftones is probably the other like real main thing, and then like a bunch of other like I feel like our like mission statement is like a lot of like the new metal bands, like such a heavy amount of them are kind of doing like the like Slipknot, like Voodoo Doll kind of new metal, like the like Dead Animal new metal, and we're trying to do like the more like poppy like Matrix kind of new metal, you know. So like usually like I mean I love like all of that shit, but like when it comes to like flashback stuff, I'm like usually reaching for more of like a Linkin Park or Deftones kind of vibe.
Yeah, the more accessible kind of stuff.
Yeah. Definitely. And I feel like the Linkin Park influence is like not subtle on our shit. Like it's it's pretty fucking out there.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Speaking of Deftones, like they're like the one band I think has been like okay to like throughout the whole like their history. Like I feel like they're like the safe new metal band that like everyone can not necessarily agree on, but like it's like, oh, they were like they never lost their coolness or anything like that.
Yeah, fully. I feel like all the metal, like the older like metal dudes that I like grew up around were always talking about Deftones quite a bit. And it kind of took me a minute to get into them too, but I realized it's because I was like listening to the wrong Deftones. Like the first record I tried was Gore, which is like,
oh, okay, yeah, not one of the best.
But like fucking like Diamond Eyes was the first album by them that I heard that I like really liked, and then
that's one of my favorites too. Yeah,
yeah, I still think it's my favorite, like one of my probably like top 2 or 3 Deftones records. Like I'd probably reach for like Around the Fur as my top one, but like Diamond Eyes is so cool. Like it's so it still has like a lot of like really edgy Deftones shit on it, but like some of the like atmospheric stuff that they're going on or that they're doing on that album is like that's very big flashback influences.
Yeah, I can hear a lot of that too.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, there's a lot less they're way less taboo, that band.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I was getting at. Yeah. It's like for some reason it was cool to like them always for some reason. And like I was never scared to tell anyone like, oh, I love Deftones, but it's like I can't tell you I like Mudvayne, you know?
Yeah. I also feel like that's partly due to like there's so much tension around like how many Deftones albums are actually new metal, you know? Like
yeah.
A lot of people will hit you with like even Around the Fur is not even new metal to some people, like, which I fully disagree with, but I feel like I don't know, past like White Pony, people can kind of like get away with it a bit more, you know. It's bad.
Yeah. Alex, do you have any other questions? You've been quiet for a while.
No, I mean the main questions I had were kind of around the new metal revival, which we've kind of gone on at length about. But yeah, that's what's most interesting to me is because, just this whole idea of the new metal revival and how it's come about and how it fell out of favor. But I think we covered that, so I think I'm good.
Yeah, what are some newer new metal bands that are like coming up around you guys? Like, because Flashback's the only one I can think of. Or I guess there's another band called Guerrilla Warfare who are kind of more of a rap rock tip.
Yeah, Guerrilla Warfare is sick. Omerta, do you know that band?
I've heard of them, yeah.
Yeah, they're also very like in the hardcore space.
Okay.
They're on like that they have a record out that has some parts that really remind me of like the Slipknot self-titled.
Oh wow.
So they're really on that new revival shit. My Ticket Home, do you know that band?
I've heard of them too. Yeah, yeah.
They're like a few years before us, and I think they broke up at this point, or they've been like quiet for a while. But they have, sorry, especially their last album, like is very getting into like some new metal stuff. There's so many. Oh, Loathe. Do you know that band?
No.
That Loathe is so sick. They're like, it's kind of like deathcore almost. But it's like the heaviest album like I've ever heard in my life. It's like too heavy, you know?
Wow.
But they so they have like these just absolutely like drop E, like low as fuck, like brutal riffs. But then it'll drop into like a chorus that sound like the guy who sings, like his voice is just like chinos. Like it's so Deftones.
Oh wow.
And then there's a lot of like really like beautiful atmospheric elements, and then like a lot of like crazy industrial shit. That's one of my favorite like new bands. They're fucking wild.
Yeah, I'll definitely check that out. Yeah.
And then like I mean like Code Orange is like pretty obvious one, and Vane. Fuck, I feel like I'm blanking on so many. But those are like the main ones that I'd reach for.
Nice. Yeah, I saw Guerrilla Warfare like with not knowing like who or not having heard of them before, like open for Every Time I Die, like the day before like the whole world shut down back in 2020.
Wild.
Yeah, it was them playing. It was Every Time I Die playing Hot Damn all the way through in Chicago.
That's sick.
Yeah, that was like it was like the day before or the day of the world shutting down, pretty much.
Wow.
And I was like kind of like laughing like kind of during Guerrilla Warfare set, and I was like on the fence about it. I was like, this is not what I expected to like open for Every Time I Die, but
yeah,
it was cool. They definitely converted me.
They're super sick. They're speaking of like new bands, they just did a tour with this band called Fox Lake, who are we played a festival with them in Oklahoma, and they're super hardcore, but they call themselves hip hop hardcore, I think. And like,
nice.
So they're also on that shit. Like they have like some sick like breakbeat samples going on, and they're awesome. That's another example.
Cool. Yeah. Well, shit. That's all I could think of for questions for you. Anything you want to like just plug or like, and like final thoughts or anything?
No, I got nothing to plug. I mean, follow Flashback on IG. You know. We're
in the works, or
we're going to Europe in 3 weeks.
Oh, nice.
So we'll be fucking around Europe for a little bit, and then after that, mostly getting ready to do a new record, I think.
Nice, cool.
But yeah, listen to Wide Awake. I guess that's what we got out right now.
Yeah, it's a really good record.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks for joining us. That was Flashback. Hell yeah.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks for having me on.
Anytime.